Hey everyone, my name is Amadou Han, and welcome to ABA Africans Building Africa podcast, where I chat with inspiring African entrepreneurs who are participating to the development of Africa. Now, allow me to introduce our special guest, Seyi Abolodji, co-founder and CEO of Wilson Juice Company. We all know that farming is a growing sector, and Africa produces a lot of raw materials, but it's very rare to see companies add value to these raw materials before exporting them or even selling them into the community. Seyi and his brother saw the opportunity to create ready-to-drink beverages and took off with the idea. They started hand squeezing lemons to make lemonade to the point where they have a factory now employing several people in Nigeria. Let's get to his story. Seyi, welcome to ABA.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
First, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay. My name is Seyi Abolodji, co-founder and CEO of Wilson's Juice Company. It's a natural beverage company based in Nigeria. Was born in Nigeria, moved to the States when I was 4 or 5, something like this. All the schooling out there, went to Stanford University, played professional soccer a couple years, and then decided to come back to visit Nigeria. Hadn't been back to Nigeria for over 10 years at the time, and when I came back, I just saw too many things that everybody saw problems, and all I was seeing were opportunities. And I was hearing sorry sorry so many times that I started thinking, what's everybody saying sorry for? And my head was just seeing opportunities, whereas everybody else was seeing problems. So while I was in Nigeria, I had a job set up based out in Chicago, or actually Elmhurst, right outside of Chicago. I bought a one-way ticket back to Nigeria while I was in Nigeria, so I wouldn't get too comfortable being back in the States. When I was in universities, one of my professors said something very profound, and it's kind of stuck with me. Was, are you about a life of comforts or you're about a life of impact?
We can hear this story over and over again because you are someone who actually see opportunities where people see problems, and when I interview people, most of them who actually started companies, and that's that same mentality that they have when they go back to Africa, because they see opportunities instead of looking at problems where everybody's yelling problems. These people see opportunities, and you are indeed one of those who see opportunities. So where did the idea of making a beverage company, where did the idea come from?
So, while we were in the States, one thing that my parents would do to chide us anytime that we were complaining or anything was just talk about how our mates back home, how they were working so hard, or how we were just eating garbage and they were eating good stuff. Anytime we wanted candy bars or soda or anything like that. And so I had the impression that coming back to Nigeria, everything would be natural, everything would be healthy. But very shortly after moving back, I realized it's actually very hard work, trying to lead a healthy lifestyle in Nigeria. I'm a former professional athlete. My elder brother, who's my business partner, was also played basketball at university. So we like to stay fit. We appreciate staying fit and the value of being healthy. And we didn't see any. It was too hard, to lead a healthy lifestyle. So the idea came from, is there something we could do to make living a health style, more fun, more convenient, and still taste good? We started with fresh squeezed orange juice, then started doing smoothies, then hit on lemonade. And lemonade just exploded. So we kind of focused on that, honed in on that, and built a business around that.
And what I like about the story is the fact that you started with orange juice. You started with different ideas. It wasn't just like lemonade wasn't the first one that came in and just exploded. You started with orange juice, and so on until you find the perfect fit for the market. And that's one thing that we also talking about and preaching, in the fact that yes, you might have the great idea, sitting in the U.S. or sitting in Europe, but then again, you have to go to the market. You have to be there to find out if the idea is viable for the market or not. And right now, how many bottles of juice do you sell daily?
Just to kind of touch on what you said a couple of seconds ago, what's really important, and one of the biggest lessons that I've learned being out here, I saved up all my money for a year while I was in the States, saved up all my money, came back, and I actually started a couple businesses before we started doing this. And the business that exploded, actually, I spent the least amount setting up the business. I only had $2,000 at the time. That was like $5 is what $5 is what we used to start this company some years ago. it really, from day one, we had to get it right. We had to keep iterating. We had to keep trying different things to keep the business alive. Whereas I started with a lot more money, but with some other businesses that I tried, that it took me longer for those businesses to actually fail because I had a little bit more money. Anyway, so now we're doing $5 in a little kiosk. We were squeezing juice with our hands, a little plastic juicer. Now we have a semi-automated factory, about 30-something people, 33 people working with us directly, another 28 to 29 people doing some sales and marketing work with us. We're doing about anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 bottles per day being sold. Year to date is amazing. We just looked up. We've been so busy working. We looked up our records in September, of October, and we've already surpassed last year's sales records, which was our best year. 2015 was our record-breaking year, and this year we've already broken that record again.
That's impressive. If you don't mind, just share with our listeners, how much are we talking here?
So I'll give you a general idea, right? In 2013, we did about 15. I don't know how you convert that to dollars now. 2014 did about 26. 2015 did about 86. This year we're about 175 to 200 million is to do that this year.
That's amazing. And I'd like to touch on one thing that you said earlier, which is the fact that when you guys started, you started by hand squeezing the juice. Basically you got your hands dirty and you started. You wasn't really like looking out for someone else to come and do it for you. So tell us a little bit about that, like what you learned from that experience.
Something now looking back, I know we've always to do so more than ever. Moving from Nigeria to the States, like we were living in apartment complexes, moved to the trailer park. Like we went through a bunch that we didn't realize like what it was teaching us at the time. But coming back to Nigeria, is a lot of people that look like us that have our similar backgrounds. We're only looking at, or still only looking at, finance, banking, consulting, IT stuff, which is cool. Those are their strengths, but we were looking at, where can we add value? I studied history and philosophy. So theoretically, I should be teaching somewhere, right? But I feel like I'm teaching, but it's more, in the business sense. From day one, where we thought that we could add value here is not being scared to get our hands dirty. All this stuff is great, but once you actually get down, people see that you yourself, we were ready to work. We've had people, like they say, getting good people is very hard in Nigeria. We've had people that's been with us for 3 years, 4 years, and I think a big part of it is because they don't see us as a guy, or that's what we say for boss here. Mm-hmm. They see us as co-workers. Right. Well, of course, when it comes to making certain decisions, we have to make the final decision. But the whole thing is like we're not scared to work. We see honor, we value. So starting from $2,005, I was the first guy squeezing oranges. The first person at work, I'd be the last to leave. Now in our factory, we have university grads, we have people that have done master's degrees, and because of the experience that we've had when we started, like there's nothing you're gonna tell us about production. Like you're gonna help us get better. Not like into somebody with only book knowledge, right? We've done everything that we're asking anybody to do with us now. We've actually done it, whether it's producing, squeezing. We were delivery men, we were the accountants, we were the sales team lead, we were the sales manager at a point.
Right, you do remind me of myself when I was actually doing my beverage company like 3 years ago when I first started. Literally, it was we were everything. We were everything, we were the sales team, we were the delivery team. I put cases in my car and delivering to retailers. So I do understand that feeling in a way that you are everything when you start, and yes, you have to get your hands dirty. And I like the fact that where you learn, okay, we started squeezing from our hands to the point now where you have a manufacturing facility, where now you have a processing facility, and tell us that experience from squeezing with your hands to the point where you have a manufacturing facility. Tell us about that experience.
So what's been amazing and something that we've seen is, having finances and having money is great. It's like rocket fuel, but you better have the right ship that you're putting the rocket fuel in. And squeezing with our hands, starting from that basic rudimentary level, has now, like everything we're doing now, we have machines doing what hands were doing before. We have machines that are allowing our hands to do it quicker or faster or better or produce more. It's just a matter of efficiency, same processes, right? So understanding, from sorting the fruits to washing to cutting to processing to blending, we were doing it all by hands. Now it's just machines doing it. So we're just increasing our efficiency. We're increasing our productivity. We're improving our consistency as we get more machines. But the core is still the same. The core, the main functions are still the same. And understanding those main functions now that is, in point, we couldn't buy a pasteurizer. But because what we were doing before, what we were using a pot to do, we were able to now construct something that acts as a pasteurizer for us. There are machines that I went to go visit one facility as we built our factory room by room. So we have pictures from years ago that we look back now and we say, wow, like what were we thinking? Like, did we really know this could turn into this? But anyway, before we started building, we went to go look at some very big facilities. And I was talking to the engineers and the plant manager and the production manager and the QC manager, and what all of them were telling me essentially was, if you wanted to do juice in Nigeria, you need this machine that's $100 million, so $500,000. You need another machine that's $2 million. You need another machine that's $50,000. That's all they saw, and they were saying, unless you have these machines, you're not going to be able to do it right. But again, because where we started from, and we understand the principles behind all these things, we were able to start with 1,000 naira. And the machine that they have that's, $500,000, we were able to build something that not that efficiency, not that capacity, but get the job done, for $200. So they were just saying what's not possible, what they need to get started. Whereas we were looking at, no, we're getting started. How now do we make it work?
And I love that aspect that you're not looking at the $100,000 machines, and you're not looking at the $200,000 machines and just saying, "Oh my God, we can't make it." It's you have that entrepreneurial mindset, thinking, "Oh no, we're gonna make it," and by saying to yourself that we're gonna make it, and that's what kind of like triggers certain ideas of how you can really figure something out. And I love that.
Exactly.
I love that aspect of it. Let's talk about the numbers here for a second. As you said, you basically had $5, and that's what you started with. And did you raise capital at the moment? And if so, how much?
It's kind of funny. So we started with $5, and the goal was making enough food to be able to eat and not bite into our working capital every day. That was the initial goal. And so I was saying, like, the 100,000, 200,000 machine before, like, that just wasn't in our periphery. Now we're getting to the stage that, like, that's what's going to help us get to the next level in terms of production efficiency and capacity. But as we started with the $5 at that point, every year or every 3 or 4 months, we would save up all our money and then reinvest in building something or acquiring some type of physical asset that allowed us to improve our work. And then over time, family, friends, we've hit up mom, we've hit up dad, we've hit up all of our friends that have anything to do with us, know what we're up to. And it's kind of cool, success, attracts attention. We thought as we were starting, every time we said, oh, we need to go to the next step, we were doing it in a little university kiosk. When we wanted to first start building our factory, we thought we had to go raise money. And so we would talk to everybody, and it's like, the more they're like, yeah, that's great. I'll get back to you. And so we didn't get any money that way. But, all our plans, everything is based on what can we do with what we have, right, to get where we're going per time. So it was crazy. Over the last 3-4 years, between ourselves, all our savings, our families, our friends, we've gotten maybe up to $150,000, $200,000. But the money always came after we started doing something. So after we started building our building, our facilities, somebody heard from somebody, saw a picture or something, and so, oh wow, that's cool. I've actually wanted to, I was thinking about you guys for some time. Here's 10,000 or here's 5,000 or something. But all didn't come in at once. It was probably the least traditional way of raising money, because working here in this environment, you just have to be on it. Like a lot of people spend time writing plans and going for meetings and all this, and it's important. It really is important. But you could get sidetracked doing that, and we're just focused on building the business. So it's like people come to us and opportunities come to us. We haven't had much time or energy spent put towards going out to raise money.
So what are your main challenges? Basically, currently, what are your main challenges, and how are you planning to overcome them?
Meeting up with demand is a great problem to have, and we've expanded our facilities 3-4 times over the last 2 years in terms of blowing out walls and extending the facilities. And we've hit a point we can no longer do that. So that was the easy problem solve. Now the problem solve is, okay, with this space that we have, how do we get more out of it? How do we get more products moving through our system? So it's really just some basic stuff with, rearranging how our factory, how things are laid out in our factory so that we could actually have a better workflow, which led to increased output, getting more machinery, or different types of machinery. Some very basic stuff. We had 3 people. Our facilities go through a process, but by the time we're packaging, it goes through a shrink wrap machine, then gets packaged in 12, then gets sealed, then gets moved to another location. One of the people in our factory is real cool. Like, anybody who has an idea can bring it, and it's the first thing is, hold on, are we ready to try it? Okay, then try it now. Like, get it done. So somebody had an idea of putting in a little ramp. So we were able to use 2 people in different places of the factory, which allowed us to increase our productivity by putting in, a 2.5-foot ramp in one place that, for 8 months, we had people carrying products from, 3 feet, carrying it from one place to another place for 8 months until one person had the idea of putting a small ramp.
I love that because I'm looking at it in a way that you build a culture to the point where people can freely come and talk to you about changes that could be made. That environment allows creativity, allows innovation, and you have to be able to build that from the ground up. And I love that aspect of it.
Even with that. Yep. We didn't know we were doing it like that, right? But one thing that we've been sold on and we've been convinced, from the very beginning is, Wilson's is a tool. Like, we have so many ideas, right? Wilson's is just an expression of a basic philosophy that we're running with, which is creating better. 2 words, creating better. One is creating. We don't do any Me Too products. We're not about Me Too. We're not about leader. We want to create. We believe we have value to add, and we have our own minds to add value in our unique way. And then better, no matter how big we get per time, there's always a way to get better. So anybody who comes to work with our company, within the first week, there's a pledge. And it's very much like you're either part of us or you're not. So there are a lot of people who can't work with us and who wouldn't enjoy working with us. But the people that do, they live by this pledge, right? Is today I will strive for excellence. I promise to do the right thing well, even when no one is watching, right? So I'm going to strive for excellence. I'm not only going to do the right thing, but I'm going to do it well. So that automatically means there's a certain type of person that we're looking for, and a certain type of person that enjoys working with us as founders, as an organization, as a company. And we see that people, we don't care about your certificate, whether you're male or female. We have 85% female workforce in the factory. Like, women come in and they're like, no, factory is not women's work. And because we don't care about, don't tell me where you went to school, what level you finished, don't tell me about, necessarily your educational background. What can you do? How motivated are you? How inspired are you to add value? If you are, then you can be a part of us. We'll find somewhere for you to fit in. And it's from production to logistics to sales. We have people who came in thinking, committed to adding value. One, that's how they got in. But then saying, I don't have that much experience, or I don't know this. But because they're committed to adding value, they themselves are thinking. So we started this ball rolling, but we have an amazing team that's, just making this ball get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, the ideas are coming from all over the place now, with people that are frustrated, and the general culture here is, I'm the boss, you do what I say.
Right.
As our culture is, hey, whatever job you're doing, you're the boss. So if you don't enjoy the job you're doing, how are you going to make your job, how are you going to make it more fun, how are you going to make it more productive? That's your job to figure that out. We're here to support you. So people come with ideas all the time, and which is great, like, because it's like we've fast forwarded our growth. You know, even like this year, they say Nigeria's in recession, and everybody's just ready to tell you what's going wrong. This is our best year to date. Everybody in our organization is thinking this way, right? Value in the midst of recession, right? That just means there's more opportunity.
Absolutely, and I love the fact that how you build a culture and how you let people define their roles in a way like, hey, this is your job, like you figure out a way to make it fun, you figure out a way to make it productive, and I'm here to support you. And all of that starts from you guys. You know, you guys are the leaders of the company, and it starts from you by setting an example, and you have people following your examples. And I love that aspect of it. Okay, let's talk about your product. Like, how many flavors do you currently have, and how many bottle size do you currently have?
We have 2 flavors that we're selling. We actually have 7 or 8 in the pipeline, but we've chosen to talk a little bit about our strategy. We believe so much in focus, and focus, and we need to be excellent at one thing, and then we could build on that. So we've chosen to focus on the product lemonade right now, for a couple reasons. One, there was nobody else doing lemonade. 2, we genuinely believe it's a natural and then a healthier alternative to what's currently on the market. So we've chosen to focus on lemonade. We have 2 different types: the old-fashioned lemonade, which is freshly squeezed lemons, purified water, and a dash of cane sugar. That's lemonade. And people trip out when they see the pink, but we actually use hibiscus tea.
Oh,
to
interesting.
Give it the pink hue, right? So it's not flavoring, it's not coloring, it's natural, like. So now you have high antioxidants, high in iron, all the benefits of hibiscus blended with, just a delicious lemonade to get your pink lemonade. So we have these 2 different variants of lemonade. We have 4 different sizes: a 150 ml, a 300 ml, a 500 ml, and a family pack, a 2-liter pack. So 2 flavors for 2 varieties, 4 sizes right now.
So are you planning to do a backward integration? Meaning, are you planning to become like a lemon farmer one day, like have your own farm of making the lemonades to be able to supply your product?
Yes, of course. And I mean, we've already started. We have a test orchard on a couple acres. First of all, to green thumbs, and then second of all, to the goal is that be able to get maybe up to 40% self that we could supply ourselves to meet up with the demand. With where we're taking this business and where this can really go, we were just doing an analysis a couple of days ago, and we started buying a little paint bucket, a 4-liter paint bucket of lemons. Now they bring lemons to our facility in trailers, right, in big trailers, and with what we're doing, in the next, we'll have at least 1 million citrus trees, lemon trees. Right now, our work is doing maybe about 1,000 trees, maybe 800 to 1,000 trees is what's sustaining the business right now. 1 million trees in the next 3 to 5 years. So part of that will come from us. Part of it's come from us, right? This is Nigeria. This is West Africa. This is Africa. And eventually will be the world. That we're trying to touch with this. So part of what we're doing is also encouraging farmers. We have outgrowers in West Africa, in Nigeria specifically, Southwest Nigeria, Northern Nigeria, a little bit Northeast Nigeria, that we're working with. So we have different varieties on our own orchard that we're trying to learn, so then we can pass on the learnings to them. So we never want to be 100% self-reliant. This thing is bigger than us.
So you want to make sure that you include farmers such as, like, for instance, the hibiscus. Those are some type of things that you will not be able to farm yourself, so you'll be able to work with farmers and get the supply from them.
Yeah, I mean, we do farm ourselves. We have a small portion of our own, and it's more about learning how to do it, right? Because so many people I did it this way yesterday, or my father did it this way 20 years ago, therefore I am still doing it. Consistently saying, how do we change it up? How do we make it better? How do we make it different? And how do we improve this? So we're doing it ourselves more as a learning, so that we can now pass it on to our farmers and they can scale our learnings.
That's a great initiative. So our audience is mainly African entrepreneurs, basically looking to invest or start a business in Africa. And from your incredible experience, what advice would you give them?
First of all, touch. You got to get on ground. So I was in the U.S. 20-something years before I moved back, and I didn't appreciate the U.S. as much until I left. And it's a really special place in terms of integrity, commitment to contracts. Your word means something beyond. It's just a special place anyway. So one thing I would say is, if anybody was interested in Africa in general, is you have to touch, you have to come, you have to see, you have to touch, you have to smell, you have to allow yourself to experience this place. First. Second is, know where you fit in. Not everybody's supposed to be an operator, right? So you have people that are, maybe they're supposed to be the connectors of finance. Maybe they're supposed to be the financiers themselves. Maybe you're number two, or you're not the CEO, you're not the founder. One mistake, I feel like there's a lot of people that come in and feel like they have to be the founder, or they have to be the owner, or they have to be the CEO, and maybe that's not their skill sets. It's not a pride thing. It's what are you good at? Where do you fit in? And exploit your talents, to the max. So one, touch. Two, now figure out where do you fit in all this. Get started. And things change so fast that having a business plan is very important and is good and is beneficial. But it's very easy to make your business the business plan, right? Make it your business to be writing a business plan as opposed to be starting a business. So once you have your feasibility study, your business plan, get started with what you have per time, because it's never going to be the right time. Circumstances are never going to all line up. Things change so fast in this environment. You kind of got to get started with what you have and be committed to making it work. Life here will kick you in the mouth and leave.
Right.
It's easy to then pack up and leave. Right.
The last part of the interview is called the ABA moment, and what I like to do with the ABA moment is basically a lightning round of questions. So I'm going to ask you several questions, and I want short and sweet answers and to the point. So if you were to live in one country in Africa and start a business, where would it be?
Nigeria, of course. The opportunities in the market are just too big to ignore.
If you had only 1,000 to start a business or invest in Africa, knowing what you know now, how would you invest your money?
Me specifically be agribusiness, but reality is, where are your interests and what are your abilities? There are just too many opportunities out there.
Have you read a book which had a huge impact on yourself? If so, what's the name and author of the book?
Too many books. I started reading very late in my life, and if anything I wish I would have done differently, I would have started reading earlier. I can't name one. You have a book called Small is Beautiful, developing in emerging markets. Small is Beautiful by Schuler, I believe. High Management, just got done reading that for the third or fourth time now, by Andy Grove. Siddhartha by Herman Hesse, really about being an individual and thinking about your life and what you want to do with your life. Think and Grow Rich, of course, Napoleon Hill. How to Win Friends and Influence People, just learn how to be a better leader, Dale Carnegie.
Right.
I love reading. I can't tell you one. There's too many.
So in your opinion, what is the next breakthrough idea or business opportunity in Africa?
Where there's need, where there's heartache, there's opportunity. So it's just open your eyes, open your heart, and commit to adding value, regardless of what the circumstances are. It doesn't even have to. We're doing lemonade, for God's sakes. It's breakthrough ideas. Is breakthrough commitment, right? Is breakthrough dedication. Is breakthrough perseverance. Is breakthrough caring. It's not breakthrough ideas.
Well, Seyi, this conversation has been inspiring, and thank you for taking the time to join us.
Definitely, I appreciate the opportunity. I really appreciate the opportunity. I think there's a life of comfort or a life of value or a life of impact. It could be, you could get all of it in these environments. It's a pleasure to be here.
If you enjoyed this episode so much, please go to iTunes and leave us a review as I read each one of them in order to improve this podcast. Also, don't forget to check out our website, africantobuildingafrica.com, where we feature ABA stories. Thank you so much for listening, and see you on the next episode.